your back. And from this position, could you please find at least 3 different ways, one at a time, of course, not all at once. Find 3 different ways to come up to sitting. One after another. Take your time. Remember, you're doing best awareness through movement practice. Your understanding of what doing an awareness through movement lesson is. Cognizance. If you know how you got there, chances are you're doing an awareness through movement lesson. And then try the second way. And then try the third way. And then stop and reflect. Which way did you like best? Right. Stay lying on your back. Take hold of your right foot with your right hand and your left foot with your left hand over the top, holding onto the outside edges. So the palm of the hand is resting on the top of the foot, the dorsal side of the foot. And if you need to lift your head, well, you know what to do. You lift your head. And now unbend the left leg a little bit, bring it back. Unbend the right leg a little bit, bring it back. And what is the easiest way for you to do that? Now lift both, lengthen both legs and bring them back. And as you lengthen both legs, lift the head. Lift the head as you lengthen the legs. Ah, good choice. When you lift the head and lengthen the legs like that, notice what part of your back do you lean on? Where do you end up leaning on your back? Is it high up between the shoulder blades? Is it low down, more towards the pelvis, or is it somewhere in the middle? And has that got anything to do with which you move more, your head or your legs? If you wanted to end up leaning more onto the upper part of your back, which would you move more? Would you lift your head more, or would you move your legs more? Which would it be? And then the reverse, if you wanted to end up leaning on that part of your back that's more like towards the back of your waist, which would you lift more, the head or the legs? And in which direction would you move the legs? Yeah. So really, you can determine what part of your back you rest on by playing with the different proportions of movement. Now, some of you have actually got your pelvis all the way off the ground. That's pretty cool. Notice where your feet are. Yeah, can you see how your shins are almost in front of your face? That's a really particular direction. Rest a little bit, please. Now, one of the things that you will all do as awareness through movement teachers is give your people prompts to remind them a little bit about what the process involves. Try a little bit of this. Experimentation is part of the game. Try this, try that, notice the consequence of this, notice the consequence of that. So within the teaching of a lesson, there's already some structure. They're learning something about doing awareness through movement lessons. But what's really going on inside? Is what's going on inside visible from the outside? We asked that question this week, remember? Please, come up to sit. In your favourite way. Do you remember what your favourite way was out of those 3 options? Take hold of your right foot with your right hand, your left foot with your left hand. Hopefully make the feet available to you and don't stick them out right in front of you with your legs long. No one's done that, by the way. Yeah, good. Lift the right foot, put it down. Lift the left foot, put it down. That's it, just try one, try the other. And notice, as you lift the foot, where do you shift the weight on the buttocks? And having done a week's worth of lessons like this, you're all shifting your weight. Lift both feet from the ground. Now, the next instruction, let it land. Let it land, which is a way of saying don't do what you hear straight away. Okay? Lift up both of your feet and slowly start to go as if you want to lie on your back. And return. Go back and return. I told you someone will go there straight away. Yeah. Slowly, slowly, see if it's possible to gradually lower yourself onto your back and then return. And if you go past the point of no return, you know what's going to happen. You're just going to roll backwards. That's fine. You just go, rolled backwards. You come back up to sitting in your favorite way, and then you start all over again. Now, ideally, yeah, this is an ideal. This is kind of the target that you're aiming for. Ideally, as you go back onto your back and as you return, you do so without any bumps. No, I haven't made a speed restriction. Yes, you're holding your feet. That, yeah. Yes. However, if you find this easier hooking your toes, hook your toes. If you find this easier with a sock or a belt wrapped around your feet, do it with a sock or a belt wrapped around your feet. Remember the idea that if the hip joints are free, that's going to be a very, very different experience than having the sensation of the legs kind of like rammed into your hip sockets. Very different. Here we go. Now, how do you get back up? Oh. Ah, you have a repertoire. Good. Stop and rest, please. Over the years, as I've been working with clients, one of the most embarrassing moments for a lot of clients is you're there, you're working quietly, there's no noise in the room, and after a while, the tummy starts to go, and they all go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's interesting. It really is interesting. They start to apologize for their intestinal noises. Absolutely. That's exactly what I say to them. I said, no, that's fantastic. I love to hear that sound. It means some part of you is actually deeply relaxing. It's good. Please bend both of your legs. Stay on your back. Interlace your fingers, put your hands behind your head. Lift your head, lift your legs. And think that you want to direct your head to between the knees so that you could hold the head with the knees. Just have that as a thought in the background. You want to lift the head enough so that your knees would hold onto your ears and your head would just be suspended there. Or your knees would hold onto your arms and your head would just be suspended there. Now, lift to the height that is comfortable. Just lift to the height that's comfortable. Stay with that same relationship. Do not change the relationship between the head and the knees, the arms and the knees. Keep it all the same. And start to rock yourself so that the feet get further from the floor and then the head gets further from the floor. But don't change the relationship between the head and the feet. Now, this takes a lot of attention because unless you're paying careful attention, you will change the distance between your knees and your head, your knees and your arms. Pay very careful attention that the distance remains the same and the shape of your back remains rounded, not flattened. The rounder your back, the easier it is to roll. That's it, that's it, that's it, that's it, yeah. So a moment you might need to deliver a little bit more muscular work with the legs, and then another moment you might need to deliver a little bit more muscular work with the upper chest, the arms, but you simply maintain that distance. Until, guess what? Pop! You pop up to sitting. That's it, yeah. Now, the next time you're rolling in that direction, as if you're going to pop up to sitting, just simply straighten your legs. Yeah. But keep your, now here's the trick. How do you straighten your legs and keep your back round? That's it. Keep the back round. That's it. Yeah. So now you use a little bit of leverage. Yeah, straightening the legs gives you a little bit of leverage. And remember, a little judo guy can throw a big judo guy. It's a principle you're using. Stop and rest, please. Come up to sitting again. And how are you going to come up to sitting? There we go. Hold onto your feet with your hands. Lift your feet from the floor and use the lifting of the feet from the floor to roll you backwards and then return to sitting. That's it. And is there something that you remember about the shape of the back that enables you to do this so that the rolling is smooth without any bumps? You know, what shape does the back need to be so that the rolling is just continuous? And for those of you who would like to try it, as you get onto your back and up onto your shoulders, perhaps for some of you, you could touch the toes on the floor above your head. But just because I've said it doesn't mean you have to do it. Just simply lengthen the knees and bingo. And after this morning's lesson, you know, and especially after that hands-on work, remember how your chests felt like, how they felt quite malleable, flexible. Can you recall and introduce a little bit of that here, where you feel that the chest can just simply fold? And if the chest can fold, does it become easier to roll, rather than maintaining a flattened chest? There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and then your back can round too, because if your chest can round, your back can round. I know it can. I felt it yesterday. Okay. Please stop, rest. So now all of you who are continuing know that you can roll to lie down and you can roll to sit. Now if we take it one more step, just one more step, is it possible to roll to lie down and roll to sit in a way that is interruptible in time? I think Feldenkrais calls this reversibility. Yeah? That you could stop at any moment, continue, or go back the way you just came from. In other words, it's interruptible. So please, roll on up to sit. Hold your feet and start to explore that. Is it possible to start to roll onto your back in such a way that if you wanted to, you could stop and then restart? You're shaking your head. The answer is no? Uh-huh. So remember when we were looking at those Lunik cartoons and you saw him walking up the hill and down the hill? Where are you at this moment? And down in the pit or up at the top of the hill? It's not possible. I'll never be able to do this. Why is he making me do this? I hate this. I'm not fussed whether you do 1 centimetre of the movement or the whole thing. If you can make 1 centimetre interruptible, 1 centimetre is interruptible. Well done. Really important. That means you know how to create it. It's just a matter of time and practice until the whole thing becomes available to you, if your structure allows it. If the structure allows it, of course, if the structure allows it. If you've got a rod in your back, not a good idea. If you've got fused vertebra, it's going to be harder. If you have a tremendous fear of falling, it's going to be harder. What? Lie on your back, please. Just lie on your back, nice and easy, and we'll finish up. Because you all know what interruptibility is. You all know what reversibility is. As you're lying there, with your legs long or bent as you wish, with your arms beside you on the floor, please roll your head left and right, or right and left. And roll your head in such a way that if I said stop, you'd be able to stop in an instant. Ready? Stop. Continue. Stop. Continue. Stop. Change direction. Stop. Continue. When you roll your head like this, that's interruptible. So using this head rolling as a way of initiating coming to sitting, go ahead. Roll the head, come up to sit. Oh, that was nice coming up to sitting too. Come up to stand. And is coming up to standing interruptible? So if you practice this interruptibility, this reversibility idea, there's a good chance that at any moment you can stop and you can say, what am I doing? Which leads to knowledge. Because when you move in that way, it makes it much, much easier to track what you're doing. Does that make sense? And then as you develop your ability to track, then you can move faster, slower, with momentum, with no momentum, acceleration, no acceleration, when you're practiced at knowing. So I think, I'd like to thank you all. It's been a great week, and I'd like to thank Jenny. Thank you, Jenny, and I'd like to thank Lisa. And it's been a pleasure to work with you. I hope we meet each other again in the future. Okay?